Well, it looks like we've got a pretty decent quorum here, so why don't we go ahead and get started? Welcome, everybody. We have a few things on our agenda, some of them hopefully pretty quick, but let's start with the Aether JIRA proposal from DAF, and we have there's a link in the minutes to a proposal from him. So DAF, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to do a quick overview of a very simple setup. Currently, I'm thinking new, assigned, resolved, and closed as 4 states. Originally, we had reopened as a suggestion last week. Kind of open for discussion whether you like reopened or closed or both. I don't like reopened because in general, when you reopen a ticket, the reason you reopen it is rarely to do with an incomplete fix. It's more of a process issue or a follow-on change that re-expose the problem. To me, those are new issues, but I'd love to hear what the team thinks and whether you would like to have additional ones there. Do these meet expectations? Any discussion on these right now before we go any further?
I mean, our general sense last time was we wanted simple, minimal. This certainly meets that. Your rationale makes sense. Any other thoughts on that?
So is the idea if a problem recurred, then you would create a new ticket and then maybe just link it to the old one, but not reopen the old ticket?
Yeah, reference the earlier ticket as it seems to be the same issue. Why was it not resolved the first time?
Yeah, I like that.
You know, rarely was the fix incorrect. It was something else that re-exposed it.
And then the transition from resolved to closed is it's almost like the committer authority to accept the change.
Right. You know, to me, it opens up 2 possibilities. One is, you know, to have somebody review or accept it, have your architect double check with it. It also, I don't know if we want to do this, but it also provides the option to differentiate between the changes in the code base, and the code base has been published and is available to consumers.
Yeah. And you can always go from resolved back to assigned if closed was not the right transition.
Correct. So do those status checks seem reasonable?
Yes, it does to me. Gabriel, kind of going around the room, TST folks, just in terms of accepting this as the starting point.
Sorry, I recently joined, so I'm trying to grasp what's happening regarding the Jira tickets. Yeah, probably let me go back. Let me take a quick look into this, and then you can come back to me.
Yeah, so this is the proposed new JIRA that we're going to set up, and the status states and the transitions.
I do want to add that we can always expand in the future. What we're trying to start with is minimal.
Yeah, as a minimum, sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Okay, so when developer is working on where it should be, it should stay in the assigned. Looks like that's what is the proposed
Currently. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I like that closed state seems to be overhead for from my point of view. Like otherwise having like not having that is good enough. Like why would we want somebody to again look at it, and we have to just trust the developer, like, or maybe like whoever has moved state to resolve, right?
Well, I think I kind of get what you're saying. I would have started there too, AJ. I think it's okay to have closed because it's almost at the level of the TST calls. We could actually do a scrub where we went to the resolve tickets and said, do we want to move these to closed?
Okay, yeah, otherwise it's fine, yeah.
Yeah, so my opinion is you know, I've had some experience with these things lately, and simpler is almost always better. So I like that this is simple. The one thing that might give me concern is I don't see an in progress in the middle. You know, that is, you know, the developer, it has been assigned to him and the developer is working on it. That would be my only concern. But like I say, simpler is almost always better. So if you can make it work with this, that seems good to me.
So probably from that perspective, maybe the result could become the in progress as Scott indicated, and then the close will be basically the result. That would make things simpler and clarify that.
The developer is done. Developer believes he's done.
Yeah,
I would not want to see
Gabriel,
that as an in progress.
yeah. I think the resolved is once the developer pushed the fix anything, he can move to resolved, but the tester or the originator should close this, right? So I think this should be fine, but we can assume that assigned means probably in progress. If you don't want to create a new state.
So just to capture this, so sign / in progress, we arguably, oops. The assumption here is assigned and in progress are the same thing. And they are different substates of whether anyone's actively working on it.
Yeah, one of my preferences, unless you need to chart time in various states, I like transitions which say somebody else owns this now. And to me, assigned and in progress, it's the same owner in both cases. So unless you need to actively monitor whether a bug is in progress or it's just waiting for somebody to start looking at it.
Yeah,
I don't go there, but you know.
yeah, I would lean towards what you said, but let's. If, do we need a fifth state?
I think the way you've got it set up here is fine. Like I say, the more states just, you know, create more transitions for people to have to take stuff through, unless, you know, like Dap said, you know, it has meaning. So, you know, only go for transitions where you do feel there's meaning. So this looks
So the
good
way
to me.
I'm gonna augment this is up in assigned includes in progress.
Okay.
But not tracking single user progress state.
So if we're resolved on those possibilities, the transitions that I've identified are below. Am I missing any?
I don't think so. Resolution options?
When you resolve it, it should fit into one of these 4 categories. No objections?
No, don't see any.
If you find it was already done, that would be a sub case of either won't do or done, as however someone wants to pick it.
Yeah, that'd be my consideration. I would basically call it done, fixed by somebody sometime in the past, you know, like whatever. But that's up to the developer's choice. It's gonna fall into one of those. I am using cannot reproduce to also indicate kind of a chide to the reporter as a, you didn't give me enough information, give me more.
Yeah.
Okay, and then the fields that I think we need are listed here. The one kind of have to have project, you need it. If we need to add components that can be added, I believe those are the current ones. Particular subsets. A quick one-line summary, a longer description, who reported it, who's currently assigned, any issues that are linked, either duplicates or related to, things like that, depends on. I'll extend those. The ability to add attachments to, as side effect. Comments. Oh, shoot, one of the questions is, do we want reporters to provide, to be able to comment? But that's a permission thing, never mind, we'll do that later.
Yeah, that makes sense, you would.
Yeah.
So go ahead and finish the list.
Yeah, status is what state it's in. What time was it created? What time was it most recently updated?
So my only high level thought is, do we want to treat the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 quote unquote components here as their own project, or keep them under one project?
Are you asking me from an implementation point of view, or the team?
Well, if you have any implementation comments, those would be helpful, but just opening to the floor.
It's nice to put components that are part of the overall product together, as long as there's not too many of them. It's a little bit more administration to have multiple projects for each, but not significant, because they'll all have the same format.
It's easy enough to filter out so you can see only those things affiliated with one comment or a component, I mean.
Correct.
Anyone have thoughts on that one? Okay, so you've got a set of questions. New features and bugs.
Essentially, this
So-
comes down to issue type, do you want to differentiate?
So all of these seem to be things that we would struggle with as we gain more experience and build up a set of tickets and so on. Can these questions be postponed and
All of
dealt
them
with
can be-
later?
All of them can be postponed. Again, we can add anything online. The only one that, well, they can all be postponed as long as the answer is no to all of them today. Or not yet.
So, I mean, I don't, thinking about support for epics, that's
I doubt you want to go there.
all right, so I don't want to go, I certainly don't want to go there today.
Okay.
All of these, subtasks, well, now that's a finer grain judgment call on how big a ticket is.
Yep.
And these all fall out as we use it and figure out what does and doesn't work for us. So I'd be hesitant to turn any of these on today just because they're going to give us more complexity.
Okay. I have no disagreement or suggestion otherwise. Just want to make sure that that's agreed on.
So with the understanding that we can always come back and make changes and adjust and add more complexity as we need it, is there any, I could put this in the form of asking for a motion, but does everyone feel comfortable if this is an okay starting point? Does anyone feel uncomfortable and would like to see changes before we treat this as a starting point? I guess maybe is the more active way of putting it.
It seems okay. Larry, yeah.
Yeah, good. I mean, you're the one that has the most activity going on there. So if you're comfortable, I think that's the key one. Gabriel, do you want more time to think on it, or are you okay as a
No,
starting?
I'm okay. Yeah, don't worry about that. I'm okay. So we can just proceed with this.
And we don't have Zhang here, but we've sort of got representatives of the major components. Alex from Smart 5G, are you okay with this? No response. Anyone else? Well, okay, so let's go ahead and do it.
All right. I
And
believe the license is in place. I should be able to have the system set up with at least prototype and pretty close to what we want. We'll need to fiddle with permissions and access rights and things over time, but that can happen dynamically. But I should be able to have something for you to review and play with a quick little demo next Tuesday.
Thank you. All right, so we tweaked the proposal and accept it as good enough to get started. Thank you. Michelle, this next item is yours. Thought I saw you transition. I'm not hearing you. Michelle, I see you're unmuted, but I'm not hearing you. And now I'm not seeing you. So I'm guessing she's logging out and maybe going to come back in. This is Michelle raising the point that Open Networking Lab is the name of the organization for Aether. OMEC happens to be the name of the organization, OMEC project for SD Core. She just raised the issue of, do we want to rename these to more meaningful names? I don't know that it matters so much with OMEC. I mean, maybe AJ, you have a thought on that one.
I'm just trying to understand what is the question.
Yeah, the question is basically, do we want to rename the GitHub organizations to more closely match project names? I don't think it's a big deal. I mean, it could be a big deal from it being disruptive, but.
So which one we are proposing? Yeah, sorry, Christian, go ahead. Yeah.
Oleri, is it to find a name where, I mean, today, if we Google 5G, SD core does not show up, right? You know, on the Google page, right? So is it to find a name which is more, you know, representative of a 5G mobile core, right? I think that's one of the questions we had, right?
Yeah, and I don't know that the GitHub org name is critical from an visibility point of view or not. I don't absolutely don't know.
Sorry, I had to,
representative.
I'll jump in because I brought that. Sorry, Larry, I had to rejoin. I was having issues with my audio. The biggest thing I was looking at was the main Aether project org that has all the majority of the Aether repositories is still named Open Networking Lab, which I think is pretty confusing for people. So that would be the primary one I would recommend changing. So it's named Aether, not Open Networking Lab, because that's pretty dated at this point. And if there's a way to clean up some of the other ones, either consolidate them under that organization or rename them as appropriate, like Christian made a point that they show up more easily in search results, that would also probably be a good move to make. I think the biggest issue is sometimes when you change an org, if there's, I think, documentation links, is that what it is, Larry? That if they are linked back, they could break?
Yeah, I think
it might take some time
I
to
think mostly GitHub gets it right in terms of changing names, but every document we've ever written, every link out there pointing to the old GitHub is going to be broken. And I think they track it for a while, but you can't be sure that they will.
Well, I think this might be a good time to do that because we have a new website up. We have all these new channels that, should ideally be the ones people are going down to find these repositories. And so maybe that will help eliminate some confusion. We can set up redirects on the old ONF pages as well to further.
Yeah, I'm fine. I think one of the weirdnesses is that the Open Networking Lab actually also, that org also hosts some legacy ONOS things, which we could just leave there. I mean, does anyone object to changing the Open Networking Lab one and make it some variant of Aether? Depends on what's available. This is a problem.
No objection from my side.
No, actually, I'm for doing that.
All right.
Favor.
All right. Yeah, I'm distracted. So, Michelle, I'll work with you on that, but I want to wait until I'm fully available, just to make sure we get all the loose ends cleaned up.
Okay, sounds good.
So the next item is yours as well.
Yeah, so someone had sent out that Slack notice. I guess that came out this week that they're severely restricting the history they're keeping for free Slack accounts.
Well, they've always restricted it. And I
but I
think
think it's more so, right?
well, no, I think what they're doing is because they had grandfathered in some sites and gave them indefinite, they're coming back to those and putting a lid on them. And that actually affects our ONF community, because that was one of those grandfathered sites.
Yeah, so I think either way, we've been talking that at some point we need to move away from the ONF Slack and into either an Aether Slack, which would probably require some cost, or one of the alternatives that it seems like a bunch of other LF projects are using, and some of the other PMs gave me positive feedback on, is called Element. And they do have a free version of that I didn't look into it too closely, but cursory look through seemed to be, hit most of the boxes that Slack is currently being used for. So, with this stricter policy coming into play in August, it gives us a little time, but it might be a good time to do that transition. Even if it's not to Element, but maybe to an alternative of some
Yeah, I mean,
kind.
we could always set up a new Slack channel as well. I'm a little hesitant to move away from Slack. Personally, I use it for a lot of things. I know that's not true for everybody.
It does get a little pricey, if I remember.
So can I ask what the other former ONF projects are doing?
So I think P4 is on a legacy version of Slack as well. And so I actually sent the same message to Fabian. They also just transitioned a lot of things to Zulip, which is kind of like a consolidation platform that might serve the same purpose. So yeah, those will probably be on the P4 TST meeting next week. And broadband is still also, I think, on the old ONF Slack, but it's not very active. So I think it's less of an issue
So
for them.
hypothetically, if we were to take ONF community, accept the 1-year limit, which I believe is still more generous than the standard limit by quite a wide margin. Prune out, and this is very selfish on Aether's part, prune out the seldom used Volta and the not used P4 traffic, renamed it Aether project. That is a plausible path forward.
And just be okay with not having any history.
Yeah, well, I mean, the history, I have to go back. I got that email because I'm the admin on that thing. And my recollection is that they would cut the history after a year. I mean, they were capping it at 1 year.
Yeah.
Well, I think we also made a decision a while ago that to not rely on Slack history. And I don't know if that was.
Yeah, that's why I didn't actually view that as a traumatic thing.
Right. And it looks like the free version of Slack has a 90-day history, so they're offering kind of a 4x. And the Element IO, looking at it, the free version has a 200 users limit, I think. So it seems, I like your proposal, Larry, of kind of pruning down to Ether if that's doable. Repurposing the old.
Yeah, you'd have to get P4 and the Volta folks to sign off on their channels being eliminated.
Well, so P4 is already moving. It's just a matter of, when. And Volta, yeah, I don't know. I don't follow how much Volta activity there is. Well, this depends on interactions with others, which we can't resolve here. So, I'm not eager to go to Element. I don't know that helps us. I think most, from what I can tell, but maybe I'm not getting full visibility, most of the traffic is Ether, and so it impacts the fewest people to make that proposal. Let me see if I can convince the other parties that this is the right thing to do.
Good.
All right, Michelle, you got the next one too.
Code of conduct, LF has a standard one that's pretty similar to what we used to have at ONF. I think we just need to kind of make sure it's posted clearly so people can see it and find it and know that this is something we, expect for participation in the project. The TST does have the option to draft their own code of conduct. It would require LF approval and review, or you could just adopt this one. It's up to you.
So I realize everyone hasn't had a chance to read this, but considering A, we need to have a code of conduct, and B, if we don't use this one, we have to write our own. I would propose that we use this one.
Yeah, if folks want to, take the time to read through it and then email with any questions or concerns after the meeting.
That's good.
It's not like we need to put it up now. We can wait a day or two if people want to take the time to read through it.
Right. So when we bring it up again, we'll assume people have had enough time to look at it to know if they want to approve or do something different. Okay, Jenkins status. I'm anxiously looking forward to the day that we have the vast majority of the jobs that are running on Jenkins off of Jenkins, and that depends on the Rock GitHub actions and the SD-RAN GitHub actions. Those are both in progress. We don't have Wuzhong on the call, but do we have Sean? Or maybe Gabriel would know whether the Rock actions are complete.
So the work that we did in the labs for the ROC and also overall for the ONOS project was the same for both SD-RAN and ROC. meaning that these we added GitHub Actions for these components for FOSA checks, license check, a unit test when there was unit test, build the code, build the Docker image. So all those basic tests, they are there. So for both projects. What we didn't do is, for example, publishing new Docker images. That kind of stuff is still pending. But everything else that is related to pull requests, we actually added there. So
pull request done for Rock, pull request done for SDRN.
Meaning the GitHub actions that run when the pull request is raised, right? Just to kind of clarify.
Actions that run for pull request,
Yeah, for both. That was completed. I think like 2 weeks ago, I think I saw that the SD-RUN team was kind of like adding some GitHub actions for publishing Docker images, but I don't know how much progress is there. I think I received a couple notifications, but again, Wujon should know the details on that.
All right, yeah, so we will, thank you. That's where we stand. Okay. So we're not quite there yet, but we're making progress. So on the on-ramp integration tests, we talked about it last time. I like the way that DAF put it, which I can't find the wording down here somewhere. Customizing the job as opposed to customizing the build machine. So what DAF and Canal, where are we with this?
For JJB, I have seen a few issues. For one of these issues, I mean, the first issue is related to the job not getting created again, because whenever there is a job created and deleted from the UI, I could not see a new job getting created if the JJB definition has the same name as the job which got deleted. So due to that, I'm suspecting a issue with the cache memory. Maybe the name is getting cached somewhere. So I am looking into the code now and just want to see if there is something inside that.
But this is related to the JJB jobs.
Yeah, this is
generated
related
jobs,
to,
right?
yeah.
So the two bullets that are here are the DAF. Is that your?
No.
These are the ones that I added.
Okay, so so you've talked about the first one.
Yeah.
And you're saying all the jobs are not able to get past the install step, and why is that?
Right. So there is a command getting used in one of the tasks, which is new group Docker. So the new group actually creates a new terminal. It basically opens you can say a new terminal kind of thing, which actually does not get closed automatically. So it usually happens when this command, new group command, is run through Jenkins. So this is quite a common issue that that was seen earlier by many people. So it basically starts a new shell and with a different group ID, and it waits for the new shell to exit before continuing. So due to this behavior, the job gets stuck there, and it is not able to continue after this command gets executed.
So
the yeah.
the make target doesn't succeed because it's running inside of a shell that's got wrong permissions.
Yes. So it is actually because of the way the new group command uh, runs. So it basically creates a new shell. So the shell does not get closed. Due to that, it always continues waiting for the shell to exit and the
So
command to complete.
why is this suddenly a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also not sure. So that's why I wanted to ask if there is a new change which was added for this.
I haven't updated any of the JJB. All my changes have been to the -dyn job, so shouldn't see anything from me on the standard.
But Canolo, are you saying this is affecting all the jobs, including the native Jenkins ones?
Not all. These are all the jobs which are on-ramp integration tests.
So
So
that
this
he's
is
saying
not
this affects
specific to
all the
JJB.
integration tests.
Yeah, all the integration tests are getting stuck. So they are not going. They are not getting passed. So this is something different from the JJB that we are discussing right now. This is about the on-ramp integration test, and all the tests are not able to pass this step.
Okay, they're not.
Install Ether on-ramp. So this is basically what happens is this is one of the steps of Ether 5G install. So which is calling the shell command, new group shell command.
So they're not failing. They are hanging at that location.
Yes, hanging. Yeah.
Okay.
I have not seen this anywhere else. So this is something specific to the environments on Jenkins.
Yep.
All right, well, let's take it offline and see if we can resolve it,
Yeah,
because
I'll take a look at
if
it.
none of the tests are running, that's not good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
Anything else on this general topic? All right.
Just one clarification on this Kunal on the new group command. It gets stuck, right?
Yes, it gets stuck.
Okay. It doesn't have. I suppose it doesn't have anything to do with Jenkins.
Yeah.
But it should not be stuck in there. Okay. Sounds good. I will also take a look. Let's take it offline.
So you should. It would be good if you were familiar with the integration tests, because they're all on-ramp tests that run on Jenkins, and I'll make sure that you have the ability to get to them there, at least look at them.
Sounds good. Sounds good.
Okay. I'm going to say that I'm going to reorder this so we can talk about the meeting very last thing. Gabriel, you have a bullet? Oops.
Yes. I want. So we have been working. Suresh has been enabling the deployment of the SD core, having the UPF in SIRV mode using on-ramp. So because of that, we made a few updates to the Helm charts. And when looking into that, there is a couple images. Well, there is a couple images that are being used in there. So one of those images is the OMEC CNI. And also when going, since I'm also working with the Helm charts, there is another image that is called pod init something, I don't remember the specific, that we use for all the images as init container image for all the control plane images. So when kind of going a little bit deep into this, I see that these two images at least come from this OMEC pod init and OMEC CNI repositories. And these repositories are in Gerrit. So my question is why do we have them in Gerrit, or why they were there in the first place? Because these two images hasn't been updated probably for a couple years at least. I think the OMEC, the pod init, hasn't been touched for like 4 years, I believe, based on what I saw the image. Would it make sense to move this into the OMEC project organization? Because based on what I was seeing, I think the OMEC CNI is based on a BCBox image, and in the UPF we are already using a BCBox image, so that's what I'm kind of wondering.
So are you saying they haven't been modified, or they haven't even been used?
No, we use all the time.
Okay, you are using it. I just wanted to make sure.
So
okay.
the image, the resulting image that was created like 4 years ago, that's used every time that you deploy the core, the SD core, you are using the pod init image. But what I'm saying is the source code, the code for these images hasn't been updated in a while.
So I'm still not sure. Like, okay, if question is only why, then yeah, I need to understand. But if you plan to move it as is to OMEC, I think that should be fine. You can do it. It's okay, because it will help in consolidating the things.
Yeah, I agree.
Why? Yeah. Why that? Probably I remember you had asked me. I'll check it at least in one of the pod. But I'm yet to do that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Do we need to know why?
Yeah, I mean, Gabriel is always interested in knowing why.
I think why is Gabriel's way of saying this was the silly thing. Why don't we fix it?
No, I haven't said that. I mean, everybody, there is always a reason to do something, right? So there should be a fairly good reason why this was done in this way, right? So over time, things change, and so that's what I'm trying to understand. Why that was done in this way? Why we, now since things have changed, why we not do it in this other way, or why we don't improve it? And the most basic, or the most relevant question for me in this case is why these images hasn't been updated. So or why we haven't touched the source code for this.
No, but why we should update? I mean, if it is like good enough for our use case, I think I can tell, like, I can quickly see that it's used for the pod init container. So, which is like just kind of wait state, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, if it is something which we think that it's very much stale, the old base image and needs update, then yes, we can do that. But it has a purpose.
No, I know. Yeah, no. That's what I'm saying. The resulting image, we are using the resulting image, right? So
yeah.
The point is that we have been updating all the repositories, kind of keep code up to date and things like that, and that's what I'm wondering. Why these other ones that are
Gabriel, if it's being used for bootstrap purposes, that it doesn't change isn't terribly surprising.
But its dependencies should change, right? So
maybe
that's what I'm saying. I mean, there should be newer versions of that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, the OMEC CNI is based on a BCBox stable, a given version of BCBox. So that is gonna be OMEC CNI is based on BCBox 1.33.0. So BCBox, we are using BCBox stable on the UPF. So why we are stuck in this version 1.33 if there is newer versions?
No, it's like it's just that people were either busy or they just didn't pay enough attention to this, right? So I think if you can move it to GitHub from Gerrit and enable those
GitHub actions,
actions, then yes, then we will start updating those stale things, right?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
so no position on that. Okay.
Yeah. That's fine. Yeah.
Okay, then I'm gonna move this to at least into the OMEC project then.
Thank you. That's good.
So just to confirm, the source code will move to the GitHub OMEC project, and the Docker image which gets published will remain the same name and the same namespace as is.
Yeah, no, that we are not
Yeah.
touching that. Yeah, that we're
Yeah,
not
okay.
touching that. Yeah, so for
Yeah,
now,
that's fine.
we are basically just, moving the source code. And later on, we can basically, from name perspective, they can be the same, but from version perspective, they should, at some point, we having in GitHub, we need to start publishing new images, right?
Yeah.
So, and these new images should have the same name, but just basically new versions for those.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Good, thank you. Okay, last bullet is the meetings upcoming weeks. I'm out the next 2 weeks. Gabriel's out the next 2 weeks. AJ, I believe, is out 1 or 2 of the next 2 weeks.
Yeah, I'm just checking calendar. I think next week, which is 2nd July, I should be available that day.
Okay, so you're available on the
yes.
2nd, but not the following.
Yeah, 2nd July.
General question, I know people are on vacations and whatnot, and we can just continue to have the meeting scheduled, and whatever happens, happens. We can, just want to get a sense what people want to do.
Yeah, and Larry, like, do we need any admin access to record the meeting?
I'm sorry, do you need what?
Any administrative access or password to record the meeting?
Nope, all automatic.
No? Okay, fine. Yeah. Then I'll be there in the next week.
Okay, so the answer is we'll remain on the schedule. And expect to happen. With some people missing. Good enough, just wanted to check. Anything else? Going once, twice. All right, thanks everyone, good meeting.
Thank you.
See you in a couple of weeks.
Yep, same here.
Thank you.